What if I told you there's a German green tech startup that's disrupting a 100-year-old water treatment industry, growing triple digits every year, and has even caught the attention of Arnold Schwarzenegger? Today, we're diving into the story of AQON PURE, the salt-free water softener that's saving energy, protecting the environment, and scaling fast across Europe. If you care about sustainability, clean tech hardware, and startup growth strategies, this episode will change the way you think about water and how startups can dominate overlooked markets.
Welcome to Startuprad.io, your podcast and YouTube blog covering the German startup scene with news, interviews, and live events.
Hello and welcome everybody. Welcome back to Startuprad.io, your deep dive podcast into the world of startups and technology. Today we're talking about a startup that is shaking up an overlooked yet vital sector, water treatment and clean technology. My guest is Maximilian Wilk. Hey, welcome.
Thank you very much for your invitation, Jörn.
My pleasure. You're the co-founder and COO of AQON PURE, one of Europe's fastest growing green tech startups. AQON PURE's salt-free water treatment systems are helping thousands of households and businesses to reduce limescale, cut energy costs, and protect the environment, all while scaling triple-digit revenue growth in a legacy industry. We'll unpack how Maximilian and his brother turned their family business roots into a sustainable hardware startup, how they caught the attention of Arnold Schwarzenegger himself, and why water might be the next big clean tech frontier after energy. This is going to be an inspiring one for founders, investors, and anyone passionate about sustainability and disruption. Maximilian, let us dive in with some core questions. You guys, AQON PURE, are actually a family business that turned into a green tech startup. You co-founded AQON PURE with your father's water solutions company. Can you walk us through that transition from like a family-owned industrial supplier to a hardware startup tackling household water treatment?
Sure. So we actually have gone through a very different story compared to many other startups. As you said, we are not a freshly founded startup from scratch. We took our father's business and transformed it in some kind of a startup, or we call it the family startup. The reason behind our history is that our father already started many, many years ago before AQON PURE to work in the water treatment industry. So he had a very, very deep and broad knowledge about different branches, about different technologies, and what's the need in different sectors. So the thing was, back then in 2016 or 2017, he was, as you said, focusing on industrial solutions. He was cleaning water in the metal industry, for example, cleaning washing processes, cleaning the water of washing processes, and trying to regain the washing detergents, for example, or save oil and fats from waters, and put it back into different processes and try to clean the wastewater as much as possible, that you have a very, very low level of substances in your wastewater. And limescale always has been, let's say, a very, very tiny part of these different technologies, of these industrial water treatment technologies, but it was an important part. And I think we saw the chance in 2017 when we sat together with our father that we can actually use his knowledge instead of just founding a company from scratch. So we tried to convince him that our solution to focus on private households is a more suitable solution for my brother and me, because we have to lead the company in the future. Our father was already, I think he was 65 years old during that time. So he was looking into retirement, and he was, he already knew that he couldn't do this forever. So my brother and me were convincing him, okay, we would like to do it a bit different. And the problem was to shift a small family business, which is focusing on just a hand of customers, industrial customers, to thousands of private households, of private customers, that you have to change the whole structure of the company. So one example, our father didn't even have a modern CRM system, an IT-based CRM system where you have an overlook about all the customers. Our father didn't use many sources for marketing, like online marketing, Google Ads, affiliate marketing, whatever. He didn't use none of them. He didn't even do a lot of offline marketing. He was one of these like vitamin C businesses that he knew a lot of people in the market because of his experience. So he knew how to contact people, who to contact, and what are the problems in the current situations.
Today we would say it's network sales.
Exactly. It's network sales. And at the beginning, it was quite difficult to tell him what kind of marketing strategies we were focusing on, what IT we need. For example, I remember the first discussion in 2018 where I was asking him for, can I have €1,000 to invest in Google Ads? And he said to me, well, I never invested a single euro in Google Ads or somewhere else. But okay, after a couple of days, I had the go, so I tried to spend them as wisely as possible, and I made from €1,000 7,000 to 8,000 euros within 2 months.
So meaning return on your ad spending.
Exactly. The return on the ads was from the multiple was 7 to 8 times, which was very good for us in this situation. So it was not only that you have to convince your father during that time, it's also very beneficial to show him the results very, very fast, that you are possibly on the right track.
I see. And so basically you set up this company next to the existing company.
Exactly.
And one of the interesting pieces, because I do get a lot of pitches, we accept less than 1% of the incoming pitches. What caught my eye was you talked about Arnold Schwarzenegger. You first encountered him in 2009, Water Softener Band, while writing your master thesis in Silicon Valley. How did that moment spark the idea for AQON PURE and shaped your mission-driven approach to sustainability?
I think that was a great help. So I was writing my master thesis in the Silicon Valley from 2016 to the beginning of 2017. And I was living together with some local students of the Stanford University. And they were also very interested in entrepreneurship, founding their own companies, doing their own businesses. And during a dinner, they were asking, hey, Max, what are you doing beside your studies, beside writing your master thesis? And I told them, well, my father has a small company which is focusing on water treatment, on industrial water treatment during that times. And so we were talking about filtration and all that stuff. And one guy suddenly said, actually, do you know, we some kind have of a saying here which says Arnold has terminated the salt-based water softener. And that's based on a law which bans ion exchangers. So in the first moment, I thought it was, or it might be a joke, because it sounded very different to what people used in Germany too. The ion exchanger, the salt-based water softener, is the very common technology you are using when you have hard water. So at the first moment, my reaction was, okay, it sounds interesting, but I try to be a bit, let's say, serious, because I didn't know in that moment that how true it was what that guy was saying. So after the conversation, after the dinner, I went online, I Googled it, and I could find this law signed in 2009 by Arnold Schwarzenegger, which enabled local authorities to ban the salt-based water softeners when the level of chloride in lakes and rivers is too high, because the wastewater of these systems, of the salt-based water softeners, they are increasing the chloride levels, because, as you know, salt consists of sodium chloride, and the chloride cannot get filtered out by sewage water treatment plants, so they get into rivers and lakes. So it was some kind of an eye-opening moment when someone was telling me about this law. And the more interesting fact was Arnold Schwarzenegger signed this law. So I thought, okay, if there is a law in California, whether it's signed by Arnold Schwarzenegger or whoever else, there must be a serious topic about this kind of salty wastewater, about this threat of high chloride levels. So I just called my father the next day and said, hey, have you heard about this kind of environmental issues with salt-based water softeners? And he said, yes, it's true. For example, a one-family household uses about 100 kilograms of salt every year, which gets then into rivers and lakes. So we are talking about probably hundreds of thousand tons alone in Germany who get into rivers and lakes every year.
And the salt in there makes it damaging, makes it difficult for the local environment. Plus, my understanding is the water softener is mostly to reduce limescale, which then makes difficulties with all the pipes and all the machines the water go through, because it leaves those white residues.
Yes, it's two sides of the same medal. So on the one hand, water softeners with salt are used to solve the problems caused by hard water. Hard water means you have a lot of limescale in the water, which consists of mainly calcium and magnesia. And hard water, as you said, causes limescale deposits in pipes, in machines like washing machines, dishwashing machines, on your shower head, on faucets, on any surfaces. And on the one hand, you can clean your surface, you can descale like the kettle in the kitchen. But after a while, for example, pipes, they start to clog and you have to descale them, or you have to renew them, which means a lot of cost. And furthermore, every millimeter of limescale increases or decreases the energy efficiency, because it's like an isolating surface. The limescale deposits, every millimeter increases these energy inefficiency. So you need more energy to get to the same level of hot water. So on the one hand, yes, salt-based water softeners is reducing these kind of problems, because the limescale is pulled out of the water and exchanged against the sodium of the salt. However, the chloride is flushed into the wastewater, which then gets into rivers and lakes. And one very famous example is the crisis of the high amount of salty wastewater, which got into the river Oder in 2022 or 2023. I just don't remember the exact year, but it's some years ago. And there was high levels and amounts of salty wastewater flushed into the Oder River. And as you could see, some, let's say, plants, they start to grow, like a certain algae was growing. But due to this growth of the algae, many fishes died. So high levels of chloride, they heavily affect ecosystems. Mostly at a certain level, plants have problems to grow, animals have problems to live in certain levels of chloride. But what research has found out that high levels of chloride, damage ecosystems, and that the current, let's say, law which regulates the limit of chloride which is allowed to be in rivers and lakes are not low enough to actually protect, for example, fishes or plants. So we have a serious problem with salt. Salt is globally an increasing threat to freshwater systems. So it's not only the salt-based salt-based water softeners who are creating this problem. We have a serious problem overall with the increasing salt levels in freshwater systems.
That already takes care of my next question, because I was wondering how you discovered this gap, and that's basically already the story. From our audience, I would be curious, what would you do differently? If you could go back to 2017, what's the one decision you change in your startup scaling journey? Let's talk a little bit about disruption and scaling as a hardware startup, because you're basically a hardware startup. Hardware is notoriously hard, right? Especially in scaling. What were the biggest go-to-market challenges you faced during a physical product to market, and how did you overcome them?
I think it connects very well to the question before, what would you do different? And the plumbing industry is a very conservative industry, and the normal sales strategy as a manufacturer of water treatment systems would be that you sell to a wholesaler. The wholesaler sells to a local plumber, and the local plumber then sells to the customer. So you have a multi-level or multi-tier sales process. And the first 1.5 years from 2017 on, we tried to go to the same sales funnel. We were cold calling, for example, wholesalers. We were visiting them. We really tried to get into their catalogs, into their stocks, which was very hard, because our product is cheaper and it doesn't need any doesn't create any reoccurring revenue for, let's say, salt or maintenance. And we then tried to go one step ahead. We tried to reach out to local plumbers, and it was the same. Our product, depending on which manufacturer you look at, is, depending on the size of the product, nearly half as cheap as a normal salt-based water softener, or even cheaper. And as I said, no reoccurring revenue for maintenance or salt. And so plumbers also didn't show a lot of interest. And we lost 1.5 years focusing on this established sales channel. So after 1.5 years, we did some kind of a recap where we were talking about, okay, what can we do better? What did work well? And we saw we had a very small website during that time. But every time a customer went to that page and did an inquiry via the website, they could contact us. We had not a professional sales hotline, but many people called us and asked for some consultancy, and we talked to them how it works, how it would be installed, and people started buying it from us directly. So we thought, okay, if no wholesaler wants to buy it, if not a plumber wants to buy it, we can sell it directly to the customer, which has even the advantage that we are not giving away any margin. And one of these customers also was asking us, can you also do the installation of the product? And as a startup, you say, very brave, yes, of course we can, but we didn't have any any plumber at hand to install the product before, but we had many contacts from our sales activities the month before. So we called some of them and we said, hey, we already have a customer who just bought the product. Would you do the installation? 10 of them said, no, not interested. It's my customer, by the way. And one said, yeah, I can do the installation. Just send me a photo of the pipes and the material. And we asked the customer then, can you send us a picture? Can you send us the material? And he sends us the pictures, and we forwarded it to the plumber. And he said, yeah, I can do the installation next week. It's all done. Just give me the number. I make the call and I make the appointment. And it worked very well. So from after 1.5 years of disappointments and many hurdles, we tried to learn much faster, which was, okay, what's the customer? The customer is not the plumber. It's not the wholesaler. It's the end customer. And how can we also offer or streamline the whole process? We just offer the installation as well by asking for a simple picture, which you can take from your smartphone, and the material, and integrated it on the website to explain the whole process very clearly to the customer. And that was then the biggest step we had to take as a hardware startup. So it's not like a software startup where you press a button and the customer can use it. You need to send the product to the customer. So we had to establish some kind of a logistics process, which was still okay, manageable. But the much more difficult process was to find hundreds of plumbers in Germany which would follow or which would be interested in our fully integrated sales funnel, from selling the product, from offering the installation to actually install the product. And that took another 1.5 years to find these plumbers which are interested in it, and which are now very well aware of the advantages, because it saves them a lot of time and also a lot of, stuff, because stuff in the plumbing industry is very rare. So with us, they save, let's say, 80% of time for one installation work. And it was, let's say, 1.5 years of doing many calls and reaching out to many plumbers to set up this network of installation partners.
Mm-hmm. That would be my next question, because you grew your partner network of certified partners from 100 to 400 plumbers in 5 years. What's the playbook for building such a strong disruption and installer network in a fragmented market?
The playbook consists of a lot of hard work. So at the first moment, it's all about reaching out to them, calling them, dealing with, let's say, 80% of, well, I'm not interested, thank you very much. But also finding the right way of communication when you contact them. And it was not about, hey, we have the latest technology of limescale treatment here. We have, which turned out to a fully new sales pitch. It was like, we have a fully, let's say, turnkey contract, not a contract, a turnkey customer for you. You just have to call them. You just have to make the appointment. You can calculate your work to us, what you actually do. It's not like a fixed sales price we are offering you. You can calculate your work as you actually do, and you have then also afterwards a customer who can call you if the customer needs, for example, the maintenance of a heating system in your bathroom, a new heating system at all. So they saw, okay, from a paid work can be created many more opportunities for my business. And the plumber has a very, very easy work and a very, very profitable way to get to new customers.
So basically, they're getting paid for generating a lead, a new business contact. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. That was our reach out after half a year to our plumbers who are working with us. And it was just like I said, a lot of hard work in little small steps, reaching out as many plumbers as possible with the right words.
Mm-hmm. I see. I was wondering, how did you educate your customers on why limescale prevention matters? I mean, everybody who had to redo the pipes in the bathroom or the washing machine or dishwasher broke down due to limescale no dust. But how did you educate your customers there, especially when competitors are pushing like the traditional salt-based system?
What we found out that our customers in our industry, they are really looking for a lot of information. Of course, it has to be understandable, very easily understandable, but they are really willing to learn more about what you are publishing, for example, on your website. So when they are on your website and you know, okay, there is this disadvantage of energy efficiency, you have to show them how this kind of energy efficiency problem is solved by our product. And of course, to make it very, very clear, also for very critical customers, you have to explain it with a lot of serious sources. And you're not talking about, I'm referring to these and that web pages. You are probably willing to publish or refer to a lot of journal articles, scientific journal articles that customers can even dig deeper. And then you reach at least the customers who are already searching for these kind of products. But we also then saw, okay, there is the even bigger part of, let's say, potential customers in Germany, which are millions of house owners. We have 19 million residential buildings in Germany. They are not aware of the possibilities that there are salt-based water softeners or even our technology. So we had to create some kind of awareness. And what we saw that during that time, the topic of limescale treatment was very rare in the press, in public media, like big newspapers, magazines. Hardly no one has ever written about limescale treatment, about water treatment, except very, very focused branch magazines for plumbers. So we tried to sum up the whole knowledge about these problems, about energy efficiency, what does limescale do with your pipes, and what actually is the current solution, the salt-based water softener, and what is the problem. We added the story of Arnold Schwarzenegger, that he has signed in 2009 the law in California, and then we reached out to the newspapers. And then in 2021, I remember, there was the first big newspaper article in the Süddeutsche Zeitung, and from that beginning, the topic was much clearer to a broader audience. It was not only the interested people or the people who are working in the plumbing industry, but you could really see that the topic is now getting more and more understandable for a broader audience. And if you can explain it very, very clearly, then you could see that they are also, let's say, getting doing an inquiry on our website and finally buying the product.
I see. Last question before our little ad break. With triple-digit growth rates and seven-figure revenues, how do you balance this operational scaling with maintaining a product quality and a very low 2 to 3% complaint rate?
I think the most important sentence you always have to remember as a hardware startup is grow slower than you actually want to. Because, as you say, the product has to be built. You have to have the product in stock. You have to have the product in the right quality in stock. And in our case, you need to have the installation network that once the product is sent to the customer, the plumber calls the customer and makes the appointment for the installation and then fulfills the installation. So there are many, many more steps to be aware of compared to a software startup. And the easiest way is to solve the danger of, let's say, demanding more from your company than it actually can do, is being a bit on the brake and always looking, checking every month, what's the stock level, is the quality good, how is the appointment rate of the plumbers, are they is the installation work good? And you have to be very, very close to your final customer and checking also internally to your staff, to our salespeople, to our technical engineers who are planning the installations. What do customers say? Are the appointments still on time? And if you are getting not the feeling, but if you can see that it's taking too long for the installation or something happens to the return rate, you really have to stop. You have to turn down, let's say, the marketing budget. You have to reduce the amounts of leads you're getting every month. And if you see that it's all stable, the return rate is stable, then you can start to grow again. But it's always a constant process of checking what can your organization do and how happy are customers. And we implemented, for example, a call 1 week after the installation. How are you with the product? How happy are you with the plumber, for example? And these inputs are used for our monitoring. They are still used for our monitoring. And then we can see, okay, is there still room for more growth?
Mm-hmm. I see. Guys, we will be back after a short ad break. Guys, welcome back after our short ad break with a little bit more talking about sustainability, market awareness, celebrity and media impact, and future growth and European expansion plans. Maximilian, water scarcity and pollution are becoming bigger issues globally, yet customer awareness is still low compared to, for example, mobility or energy transitions. How do you shift public perception and make water the next big sustainability topic?
That's a very good point. Germany is in the European Union one of the countries with the worst surface water qualities. I think we are on 16th place of 20. And furthermore, Germany is one of the countries with the highest rate, with the highest loss of water, of fresh water. So the problem has already become very, very real, as you say. However, I would admit that it's not yet such a big topic compared to mobility or energy. I think many cases have shown that many topics become just an important or a big topic in media if it's nearly already too late. Let's say, for example, the beginning of the Ukraine war, the energy prices increased dramatically, and then all the people started to invest in, let's say, solar panels and getting their own solar system to reduce energy costs. And of course, solar technology has been around many, many years before, which could have been a great solution against making us more independent from, for example, gas. However, not many people were interested in it. And as you can see now with the water, we can already see the lakes and rivers are getting in a worse and worse shape, and we have a reduction of freshwater, a loss of freshwater in Germany. So as a founder, I would avoid to shout out all these worst case scenario messages. Okay, we are steering ahead into a water crisis. Within 30 years, we won't have any drinking water left or something like this. It's, on the one hand, of course, in Germany, it's not credible at the moment. And I think it's not the right way to work with these kind worst case scenarios. You have to find a moderate way a clear way and a serious way to make it understandable for customers what is going on, what is happening with our water supply. And it's not something which will happen from this year to next year. It's something which probably takes 5 to 10 years to reach a shift from water is here, we have no problem with water, to, okay, we have to take care. We have to seriously take care with our water. And so we are seeing this as a long-term project. And this mostly goes not through, let's say, online marketing or a website or something. It's getting started a discussion, a conversation about our waters. This could mean getting started a conversation in newspapers, in media, in TV, within the conversation of people itself. That's the main goal, that you're showing and making it understandable that you have to take care of this. But it's definitely a long-term transition before it takes serious action. And I'm also not a fan of going into politics and saying we need a law which now focuses on also forbidding the salt-based water softeners, for example, like Arnold Schwarzenegger did in California. We also have seen with the heating law in Germany, which was mainly forcing or trying to force people investing in heating pumps, that it exactly led to the opposite. People were running into cheap gas-powered heating systems before the law came into place, and then the heating pump market broke together. So creating a sustainable demand goes hand in hand with a sustainable and serious understanding why these technologies are important.
I see. We already covered quite a lot of the questions that I would have here for you, how they reduce energy consumption. And we already talked about the German heating law. That is something we already covered. So let's go to the next questions and talk a little bit the celebrity and media impact, because Arnold Schwarzenegger, the governor, became one of your supporters. How did the relationship develop from the FT1000's recognition to being invited to his climate conference?
It's also a long way until we got in contact with him. So we even tried once to reach out to him directly before we got this award. I don't know the exact year, but we reached out to him, to his organizations, with some very personal letters, also with some of the newspaper articles which were published and which were writing about his law in 2009. And there was no reaction. But maybe his organizations, they were like saving these information when we reached out. And when we got nominated for this FT1000 award, one of the persons which we reached out to the time before made contact to us and said, hey, I saw you got this award. Okay, it's a very important topic. We also see the connection to the law of Mr. Schwarzenegger. Would you be willing to tell us more about what you are doing? And then we first had a video call with one of his employees from the Schwarzenegger Institute from California. And after the call, we had to send some documentation to him. And a couple of weeks later, we got invited to Arnold Schwarzenegger's office in California, in Los Angeles or Santa Monica. But then we also didn't meet him. We met, let's say, the director of the Schwarzenegger Institute in Santa Monica. And then we had another, I wouldn't say it was a check, but of course they really took a closer look before we could meet him. And we were having, let's say, a deep conversation of what we are doing, how's the technology working. They really wanted to see, okay, that's some serious thing here. And the good thing was we have already been, I think it was 2024 when we went to the office. So we had already a track record of 7 years on the market. And then we were invited the first time to the Austrian World Summit in Vienna the next year. And so we met Mr. Schwarzenegger himself. And so also, again, it's not something which happened overnight. It was like you really had to show that you're a serious player, that you're not like a company which is here the one day and the next day it's gone. And they wanted to see that you are really standing behind your technology, behind the solution you're offering. And they want to see how clearly can you communicate and prove what you are saying. And I think after 1 year later, we then were allowed to speak at the Austrian World Summit as one of the startups who are allowed to present their solution. And of course, that was a very, very great honor because we are also presenting a work which Arnold started to trigger in California more than 15 years ago, and now swapped over to the European market. And I would say, of course, it's not something that they're looking for any startup to be on the stage. It has to show, okay, their relevance over, if possible, a certain period of time.
You talked about being on this Schwarzenegger's Climate Summit. How was it to stand on the stage as a speaker?
I think it's the time before the standing on the stage is more demanding than actually being on the stage. The good thing about these conferences is that you're really, really thinking about what would you like to say? What is your message? What do you want to communicate? And that takes several days or weeks until you're very clear about what do I want to say. And these, let's say, 15, 20 minutes you're on stage, then it's like you try to deliver this message on point. And of course, in this case, it was a great honor because I could see Arnold Schwarzenegger was sitting in the first row, so he could again listen to our story while telling the story to thousands of other people, which makes it also like achieving a very, very big goal. Starting the company 2017, 8 years later, standing on the stage, telling about the history, telling about the story, and telling what you are doing to one of the greatest heroes of also my personal career, but also to a person who means who is like a very the climate action hero, as Arnold always says, to many other people in the world. And that's also something which definitely shaped our brand recognition, our credibility, that we could have this slot on stage and telling about what we are doing.
Before we go into future and growth and your European expansion, I was wondering, for our audience, what's your boldest prediction? What's your boldest prediction for the future of water tech and sustainability by 2030? Comment down here in the show notes or simply tag us on social media. Now, let's talk about future and growth and your European expansion here. You set a goal to become Europe's market leader in limescale prevention by 2030. What's your roadmap for expanding beyond the DACH region?
Yeah, as I said, we are born as a company who walks small steps, and I think it's the same here. So we are not starting to enter many other European countries once at a time. We have focused on a soft relaunch last year on many other EU countries, and we found out, okay, it might be Spain and Poland who might be very interesting for us to enter into the market. So at the moment, we start to prepare the website. We start to hire sales teams for these countries. And then we will start in a very, very small let's say, scale with a little bit of advertising in these countries. And parallel to that, we are starting to build up also our installation network, our network of plumbers. And this also happens in regular or in small steps, regular checks, sitting closely together. How did it go? What are the results? And when we see, okay, the sales pitch works, the plumbers are interested in it, we start to get this engine running and do bigger and bigger steps. But it's not the case that we have like a big partner who do the installation, big wholesalers or something. We really try to stick to our roots to build up this network from scratch, which has shown as a very stable network because these plumbers are very loyal. They stick to your business and they're very thankful for this kind of cooperation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I see. Green tech and clean tech investors are increasingly active in hardware because everybody knows hardware is hard. What kind of investor relationships or funding strategies is key for your growth phase, knowing that you are currently bootstrapped? But I would also be curious if you are open to talk to new investors and what do you think about that?
We have in our company, we really try to grow with our own money as long as possible. As long we can finance the growth by ourselves, we will always try to go this very specific way. Because what we have seen, having the control about the company, being able to make quick decisions, having as few people sitting on a table for these kind of decision-making processes is very important to us. And if we see, for example, could be the case in our internationalization process that we need more money than we are earning at the moment, then we would say, okay, now we are ready for or we now really see the need, the urge for external investors. But we actually really try to avoid this kind of investment. Although we know, as you say, hardware cases are also very interesting for clean tech investors.
Now let's put on your glasses looking into the future. I know forecasts are always difficult, especially concerning the future. That said, if you look 5 years ahead, how do you see water treatment technology evolving and what role will AQON PURE play in building sustainable hopes and infrastructure?
That's a very interesting question. I have been looking on the water treatment market, especially for residential purposes, for the last, let's say, 10 years or even longer before I started to work at my father's company. And there are some startups, there are some companies who are offering new technology, new solutions, but compared to other branches like the energy sector, mobility sector, even IT sector, it's very, very small. And I'm a bit skeptical in that case. I'm a bit scared that there might not happening more movement, more growth. I think there won't be many different or new technologies compared to today, as far as I can see. And of course, bringing more movement into this market would maybe also bring the whole water treatment market on the next level for let's say, for the public discussion on such technologies and the urge of such technologies. But at the moment, I don't see it. So we really try to work in this field as good as we can, as much as we can, as fast as we can. And our hope is, because we also don't see a lot of competition in specifically limescale treatment technologies, that we are the major supplier of the salt-free limescale treatment technology all over the European Union.
Mm-hmm. I see. And the last question for this interview, as it was traditional at Startup Radio, we already talked about your openness to new investors. Are you looking for new employees?
Yeah, sure. We are regularly looking for new employees, for example, like a sales agent for the Spanish market. But I would be happy to share our website to give you a further look on who we are looking for.
We will totally share this career website. And the only thing I can say is Spanish. Mi español es muy, muy mal. Maximilian, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much. Hope to have you back on an update down the road.
Thank you very much, Jörn. Thank you very much for the invitation. It was very nice talking to you.
My pleasure.
That's all, folks. Find more news, streams, events, and interviews at www.startuprad.io. Remember, sharing is caring.